our eyes can't avoid the mounting problems facing us here at home. Our southern border is being invaded, a literal invasion, with illegal border crossings at record levels. Record levels just passed this September again. I've been down at the border more times than Joe Biden. That wasn't hard. And more than Harris also. But we've had North Dakota troops down there nearly continuously during my time in office. Brave young men and women in the North Dakota National Guard, not just standing sentry on the border, but also North Dakota troops providing leadership and pilots flying night helicopter missions from San Diego to the Gulf Coast in Lakota helicopters, attempting to stop transnational criminal organizations that in many cases are better funded and better armed than our law enforcement, because Joe Biden is effectively defunding the Border Patrol law enforcement the way many have defunded the police in our cities, and we see what's happening in our cities. But border security is national security, and our national security is compromised every day that we do not have control of our own borders. The likelihood that Hamas agents have entered America has increased dramatically over the last 2.5 years. We throw out numbers that are hard to imagine. 6.5 million people that have entered our country since Joe Biden took office. But think about that. That's every man, woman, and child in the state of Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, Rhode Island, Joe Biden's home state of Delaware, and you have to throw in Montana as well. Every individual, that equals 6.5 million people. That's how many have entered. And when you're down at the Border Patrol getting a briefing as a governor, one of the things they show you is the other number on the list, and that's the known gotaways, where we've got cameras on the border but no Border Patrol because they're busy literally doing paperwork. They're overwhelmed by the volume of people they're processing in. The known gotaways is 1.5 million. But there's another number that none of you hear about, the unknown gotaways. This is a place where the bad guys have disabled the cameras and people just walk freely into our country. Is that 1 million, 2 million? We don't know. But we do know of the ones that we've caught that we got a record number that are on the terrorist watch list. I do know from my recent trip down there that these weren't all from Latin America. There was over 100 countries where people had come across and had been apprehended, including all the names of the countries we've mentioned so far in this list, and including Syria, Iran, North Korea. Policies that encourage open borders or overwhelm our defunded Border Patrol put the American people in danger. As your president, border security will be a top national security priority. I am prepared to surge troops to the southern border and employ whatever we need across diplomatic, informational, military, and economic responses. But the U.S. military, we can deploy them in responsible and effective ways to stop the flow of people and drugs into our country. We will reverse every one of Joe Biden's open border policies. We'll boost recruitment and retention efforts for our Border Patrol. We'll prioritize policy making on the advice of our Border Patrol professionals, not left-wing ideologues. And why do I say that? Because if you're down there meeting with multi-generation American law enforcement families that have worked in the Border Patrol, they will tell you, we've closed the border before, we can close it again, just give us the resources, the technology, and the leadership from the White House to close it, and we will close it. We'll also issue National Security Directive 1, ordering a maximum pressure campaign on the international cartels and their Chinese suppliers, directing every department and agency of the U.S. government to immediately bring forward every possible tool, law enforcement, executive action, financial sanctions, rewards for justice, special operations, covert actions, and more, to shut down the flow of fentanyl into the United States and make sure it's the narco-terrorists that are being threatened, not American families. We've lost the equivalent of 5 Vietnams worth of mass casualties of Americans dying of overdose deaths since Joe Biden took office. It's 300 a day. 300 Americans a day. These are sons and daughters, their nieces and nephews, their moms and dads, trapped in the disease of addiction,